Greetings, class. For chapter 14, let's talk a bit more about lists, tables, and forms. In particular, some things we can do to turn some plain-looking web pages into some that look much more professional. With no further ado, let me share my screen. Let's talk about that. So right now I have a very plain-looking web page here in our chapter 14. And its objective is to show us a standard paragraph, a standard list, both unordered and ordered lists, a standard plain table, and a form that's kind of all over the place in terms of formatting. Its code looks like the following: just a standard body like we're used to seeing, standard unordered list, a standard ordered list, a section here related to a table, a section here related to a form, and the end of the document itself. Very plain looking. Now, generally speaking, we want to move to external style sheets, but for just code and expediency, I'm going to use an embedded internal style sheet for the purposes of this particular assignment. So let's put our little style reference here. And bit by bit, let's just add some things to this to make it look a little bit better. Let's do some general styles here related to the body to begin with. Why don't we make the font family Arial, make the margin 20, set the line height to 1.6, and set a background color here that we can work with. Let's see how that looks. Okay, it's looking a little bit more spaced, okay, in terms of the body as a whole. A lighter background, very subtle that we're working with here. Okay. From there, why don't we do some things related to the heading 1s and the heading 2s? Apply a background color as relates to heading 1s and heading 2s. Why not? They're going to have a little bit of stylized color and font there as well. If we get to those sections that we mentioned, let's make those sections much more clear. If we have the sections in the document where these little kind of custom tags are, let's do something to kind of segment it out. Putting a white background, putting some padding on it, put a margin bottom on them, and a radius in terms of rotation, and let's put some shadow on it as well. See what that looks like. Aha. See how these very subtle little boxes are now coming forth on screen by applying different sections of the document. And you can see it contrasted from the darker background to the lighter text kind of pops out at us, making it look a little bit cleaner, a little bit cooler there for us. Neat little technique that we have there. Okay, so on some of those lists, let's go do some things with the unordered list and the ordered list. Let's go change the padding and the list style on those, if you will. I know I could handle that. For the unordered list, let us do a list style square. Set that padding left to 20 pixels. On the unordered list, let's set that padding left to 20 pixels and kind of see what that might do to our standard document. Okay, square. Get more blocked in terms of our stylized elements overall. Little subtle changes that bring about the presentation and make the document look a little bit more professional is what we're doing here. Eating this elephant one bite at a time, one element at a time in the document. So we've applied right now some general page styling, some general list styling, and believe it or not, you can also apply some styles to tables. And this is actually the preferred method in terms of cascading style sheets these days. So in the table, why don't we make a width of 100%, go across the whole screen, collapse the border, and make a top margin of 10 pixels. Let's see if that table is starting to look a little bit better. Sorta. Okay, we can do a little bit more, I think, to make it look even better. And so let's go do that. Why don't I, for the table headers and the table data, perform some operations? Why don't I, for the table header, apply a border, 1 pixel, put a solid color, put an 8 pixel padding, align the text left, put a background color for table headers to distinguish them from any other types of data. See if that starts to pop out a little bit more. Aha, I like that. Shaded background, much more stylized, much better looking text inside the table. Aligning it left. And maybe, let's see, if I wanted to, we might perhaps be able to rotate colors depending on rows. We'll see. This might be what this particular element does. We'll come back over here and say, you know what, if I want to rotate on the even rows of the table, turn them a different color. TR, that nth child, even, make sure that we rotate colors. And what do you know? Different shading based upon if it's the even row versus the odd row of the table. Neat little stylized elements that we're doing here. The form really needs some work. And if we take a look at it here, it is all over the place. You have a input field, you have an email field, you have a drop down, we have a text area, a submit button. But from a usability standpoint, they're all over the place. We want to improve that, make it look better. That power is in our own hands. That destiny is in our own hands. We can do that for users. We can make their lives easier. We can make the preview of the page easier with a few stylized elements I want y'all to be aware of. I can apply overall form styling and set the margin top equal to 10. And then why not? Let's do some work on those input text areas, those select areas, all those input fields. If you are input, if you're text area, if you are select, any of those, make them the maximum width 100% across the screen. And within that box, set the padding to 8 pixels, set the bottom margin to 10 pixels. Let there be a solid border around it, all the way around. And let the border radius be about 4 pixels for visibility. Let's see what that does for us in terms of the dramatic impact on those input fields. Well, you know, they're starting to look a little bit better. A little bit better. Remember, they were all over the place before. And now they're starting to look a little bit better in terms of input, letting the user know sort of what our expectations are a bit better. I bet we can make that form look even better. Why don't we do some more with that input button and do some animation when people hover over the input button as well. So I'm going to say if it's the input type equal to submit, set the background color equal to that, set the color equal to white. You know, if what you should really do for white is hashtag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexadecimal. Set the border color to none, cursor, make it a pointer. If you hover over it, change the background color. That's what we told it to do right there. Let's see if it listens to us. Blue button, mouse over, a little bit darker blue, mouse over, a little bit darker blue. And then you have your submit button available to the people as well. So remember, we started out with a very, very plain looking website because HTML is structure. Cascading style sheets are the design. They come together with these various elements as we talk about in chapter 14. List tables and forms come together to bring together what you already know about lists, forms, but improve it with cascading style sheets. You're improving the user experience through elements such as this. I'm going to give you the copy of this code as well for you to play around with and work with. And I want to see y'all implement these in your homeworks as we move forward. But that's us having a little bit of fun, show you the front end, and let me go down and show you the entire HTML end, which I'll share with you. Okay. And then let's go show you what the cascading style sheets look like for the general page as a whole, for the lists elements, some things we can do with table styling, and indeed some things we can do with the form. The ultimate goal here is to produce something that looks a little bit more clear, more interactive, more graphical for the purposes of bringing about a good user experience. So that's in your hands, folks. Keep up that good work moving forward. Book a one-on-one appointment with me if you have any questions about any of these. I thank you for your kind time and attention. Dr. T, signing out for now. Talk soon. Bye-bye.